There are moments in life when a whisper arrives, silent yet heavy, and you know it is not just your own thought. Something deeper calls you, urging you to stop, to listen, to pay attention. This voice is not the echo of your habits, not the noise of your mind, but something beyond, something higher, something that demands recognition. And yet, most people ignore it. They drown it with distractions, with endless chatter, with desires and fears. They feel the nudge and brush it aside, thinking they have more important things to do. But what could ever be more important than the call that comes from the source of your own existence? To ignore this call is to walk away from yourself. It is like standing in front of a mirror and refusing to look, turning your head as if the reflection does not exist. You can deny it for a while, you can pretend it is not there, but deep inside you know you are being called. And the call is not a suggestion, it is a command for your awakening. When you ignore it, you are not rejecting a stranger's voice. You are rejecting your own path, your own meaning, your own chance to rise. The world is full of noise. Everyone wants to speak. Everyone wants to be heard. But only one voice matters, the voice that rises when everything else is silent. The voice that asks you, are you living as you should? Are you walking the path designed for you? Are you wasting time that will never return? This voice does not flatter, it does not comfort, it does not negotiate. It speaks the truth that shakes your ground, the truth you sometimes don't want to hear, but the truth you cannot escape. Ignoring it is dangerous because every time you silence it, you silence your own growth. Every time you pretend you didn't hear, you bury yourself deeper into chains of regret. Life is not endless. You don't have countless chances. Each ignored call hardens the heart, blinds the eye, deafens the ear. What once was a loud alarm becomes a faint echo, and if you continue to turn away, one day it disappears completely. That is when the tragedy begins. Not that the voice stopped speaking, but that you lost the ability to hear. Do you understand what that means? It means living without direction, walking without purpose, breathing without meaning. You may still eat, sleep, laugh, chase success, but something essential is gone. You are disconnected from the very force that gave you life. That is why the call must never be ignored, because it is not about comfort. It is not about pleasing you. It is about saving you. When that voice comes, it shakes you because it wants to break the walls you built around yourself. The walls of excuses, the walls of laziness, the walls of fear. And those walls feel safe, but they are not safety, they are your prison. That voice comes to destroy them, to drag you out of your own darkness, even if it hurts. To ignore it is to choose your chains over your freedom. And yes, it is easier to ignore. It is easier to say, I will deal with this tomorrow. It is easier to hide in pleasure, in comfort, in routine. But easy is never equal to right. Easy is the road of the weak, the ones who run from themselves, who bury their calling under shallow desires. Do not join them. Do not let yourself become one of those who had the chance to rise, but refused, who were chosen to hear, but ignored, who were offered purpose, but chose emptiness. When the voice calls, it is proof you are not abandoned. It is proof that something greater still cares for you, still sees you as worthy of guidance. Do not treat that as nothing. Every moment of your life could have been silence, but instead you were called. This means you matter. This means you are seen. This means your life carries weight beyond what you can imagine. The call is not forever. If you delay, if you ignore, if you harden yourself, it may leave. That is why the only right time to listen is now. Not tomorrow, not later, not when you feel ready. Now. Because this moment is the only moment guaranteed. The next one may not come. And if it does come, it may come without the voice. Imagine what that loss means. A life where God stopped calling you, not because he cannot, but because you would not listen. So when the call comes, fall silent, stop the noise. Listen, do not explain it away, do not fight it, and do not argue with it. Let it pierce you, let it disturb you, let it burn through your excuses. That fire is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to forge you. You cannot rise without heat. You cannot grow without being unsettled. The call is the hammer that strikes the stone until it becomes a shape, until it becomes a masterpiece. To ignore the call is to remain stone forever, cold, unshaped, forgotten. But to answer it is to be transformed into something worthy, something radiant, something alive. That choice rests with you. And it is not a choice you make someday. It is a choice you make now. Listen, because to ignore is to fall. Listen, because this is not just another sound, it is the voice of the eternal calling you back to yourself. Listen, because everything in your life depends on whether you choose to respond or to turn away. And remember, silence in the wrong moment can cost you everything. The call has come. The question is, will you ignore it or will you finally answer? Obedience is a word that many avoid because it feels heavy, it feels restrictive. But in truth, obedience is the key that unlocks the very guidance you are seeking. The path of life is not hidden because the answers do not exist. It is hidden because you are unwilling to listen. The voice of wisdom speaks, but it requires one condition, that you obey. Without obedience, there is no progress. Without obedience, there is only wandering. The problem with most people is not that they do not hear the message. They hear it, but they do not want to follow it. They want guidance that suits their comfort, that feeds their desires, that does not challenge their habits. But the voice of truth does not bend to your comfort. It demands your surrender. It demands your action. It demands that when you are told to move, you move even if you do not understand where it will lead. That is obedience. And that is where real guidance begins. You cannot ask for light and then refuse to step out of the darkness. You cannot ask for direction and then reject the path shown. This is why so many stay stuck. They ask, they pray, they beg for answers. But when the answer arrives, they hesitate, they resist, they question endlessly. And the moment is lost. Guidance does not wait for your convenience. It is given, and if you do not act, it slips away. Obedience is not weakness. Obedience is strength. It means you are strong enough to set aside your stubbornness, your ego, your endless need to control. It means you are willing to trust something higher than yourself, something that sees further than your limited eyes can see. It takes courage to obey because it means you let go of certainty and step into trust. But without this courage, you will never be guided. You will remain trapped in circles, chasing your own shadows, never breaking free. Think about it. How many times have you felt what you should do, but ignored it? How many times did your heart know the step, but your mind delayed it? Every delay is disobedience. Every refusal is disobedience. And every act of disobedience keeps you in the same place, no matter how much you desire change. Change is not created by desire. Change is created by obedience. The moment you obey, something shifts. Suddenly, the fog clears, doors open, paths appear, not because the world has changed, but because your heart has aligned. Guidance flows where obedience is present. Resistance blocks it. You may not see the full journey, but you will see the next step. That is all you need. Step by step, obedience builds a bridge between confusion and clarity, between wandering and purpose. And remember, obedience is not about blind slavery. It is about aligning yourself with truth, the truth that already lives within you, the truth that calls you to rise. When you obey that truth, you free yourself. You break the chains of doubt. You prove to yourself that you are not a prisoner of fear, not a victim of hesitation. You prove that you are willing to walk the narrow path, even if it demands sacrifice. That willingness makes you powerful. But if you disobey, if you keep resisting, if you keep demanding control, you will never see the guidance you are asking for. You will hear words, but never understand them. You will see signs, but never follow them. Life will remain a puzzle because you refuse to fit the pieces together. Obedience is what makes the puzzle clear. Obedience is what allows you to walk in light instead of stumbling in shadows. Do not misunderstand this. Obedience is not about waiting for a booming voice from the sky. It is about the daily choices. The call to discipline when laziness tempts you. The call to honesty when lies seem easier. The call to patience when anger is rising. Every small obedience trains your spirit. Every act of surrender builds strength. And then, when the greater call arrives, you will be ready. The truth is, obedience is freedom. When you obey the call, you stop carrying the burden of endless decisions, endless doubts, endless what ifs. You step into clarity. You know your path. You know your direction. That is freedom. And it only comes when you stop resisting and start trusting. Do not wait for tomorrow to obey. Tomorrow is the language of the disobedient. They always postpone, always delay, always think they have time. But life does not wait. Opportunities vanish. The call does not linger forever. Obedience must be now. In this moment, in this breath, if you want guidance, obey. If you want clarity, obey. If you want transformation, obey. Stop arguing with truth. Stop debating with the voice inside. Stop delaying what you know you must do. Every step of obedience shapes you, sharpens you, strengthens you. Every act of obedience carries you closer to your destiny. In the end, it is simple. You either obey and rise or resist and remain where you are. The choice is always yours. But do not be surprised if your life remains clouded, if your path remains hidden, if your heart remains restless. Without obedience, there is no guidance. With obedience, the way opens. The question is not whether path exists. The question is whether you are willing to walk it. It is not mistakes that bring the anger of God. Mistakes are part of being human. You fall, you rise, you stumble again. That is not the problem. The problem begins when you refuse to learn, when you close your heart to correction, when you choose to ignore the message again and again. The anger comes not because you are weak, but because you are careless with the chances you are given. Every warning is an invitation. Every reminder is a rope thrown to pull you out of the pit. But when you cut the rope with your own hands, when you keep refusing, when you keep pretending you don't hear, then you are the one who pushes away the mercy. And what you push away cannot protect you forever. Understand this clearly. The divine does not expect perfection. Perfection is not asked of you, but awareness, humility, and willingness are asked of you. When you continue to ignore what is placed in front of you, when you laugh at the signs, when you harden your heart to the whispers that guide you, you invite consequences upon yourself. Not because God is cruel, but because you have chosen neglect over growth. Neglect is far more dangerous than mistakes. A mistake humbles you. Neglect blinds you. A mistake breaks your pride. Neglect strengthens your arrogance. A mistake can teach you if you let it. Neglect refuses all lessons and insists on walking blindly. And blindness cannot last without destruction. Think of a child warned not to touch fire. The first time, the child may still touch it. He feels pain, learns, and avoids it next time. That is a mistake turned into wisdom. But if the child touches fire again and again, even after warnings, what can be said? It is no longer innocence. It is neglect. It is arrogance. It is refusal to grow. And the burns only get worse. In the same way, repeated neglect of the voice within you is like walking into flames again and again, pretending they will not burn you this time. The anger of God is not like the anger of humans. It is not impatience. It is not frustration. It is the natural result of constant rejection of grace. When you close your ears long enough, the guidance stops speaking. When you close your eyes long enough, the light stops shining. This silence, this withdrawal is far more terrifying than any punishment, because to live without guidance is to be lost. To live without light is to stumble endlessly in darkness. That is the true anger when the opportunities are taken away, when the rope is no longer thrown, when the reminders cease. Do not deceive yourself. Every time you ignore the call, you harden a layer around your heart. At first it feels small, almost nothing. But with time, those layers grow thick, and the thicker they grow, the harder it becomes for truth to reach you. Until one day you no longer feel anything, you no longer hear anything. That is the death of the spirit, not a sudden fall, but a slow hardening through neglect. The path is simple. Mistakes are not the enemy. Repetition of mistakes without correction is the danger. You are not asked to never fall. You are asked to never stop rising. You are not asked to never err. You are asked to never ignore the lesson. The anger comes only when you close your eyes and insist on blindness, even when the light is all around you. Do you realize how many chances you have already been given? Do you realize how many times you were saved without even noticing? Breath after breath, warning after warning, guidance after guidance. Yet so many still treat it as nothing. They delay, they laugh, they make excuses. They believe the call will always be there. They believe they can keep neglecting without consequence. But the call is not endless. The voice is not infinite in its patience. Every neglected moment is a warning sign. Every ignored truth is a weight added to your own burden. If you continue, you will break under it, not because anyone desired your fall, but because you chose to carry neglect instead of obedience. So learn now, mistakes are not your shame. Neglect is. Mistakes can become wisdom. Neglect becomes arrogance. Mistakes can humble you into growth. Neglect hardens you into destruction. Which one will you choose? If you have been ignoring the signs, if you have been delaying the change, if you have been closing your heart, understand this: it is not too late while you still feel the call. But do not play with time. Do not assume the call will remain forever. It comes as a gift. If you keep rejecting it, it may be withdrawn. And then what will remain? A silent heart, a blinded soul, a restless life without direction. That is the anger you should fear, not thunder, not fire, but silence. And do not anger God with neglect. Do not anger yourself with blindness. Listen, change, act, answer when the call comes, because the longer you resist, the further you drift. And there will come a day when the voice no longer reaches you. On that day, regret will be louder than any sound you ever heard. You were not placed here by accident. You were not born simply to exist, to wake and sleep, to eat and work, to chase meaningless cycles until the end of your days. There is a reason behind your breath, a purpose behind your steps, a weight behind your life. If the call has reached you, it is because you are not ordinary. You have been chosen. And to be chosen is not a comfort, it is a responsibility. Do not think that being chosen means you will have an easier path. It is the opposite. To be chosen is to carry trials that others may never know. It is to face storms that others are spared from. Why? Because your destiny is greater, and greater destinies demand greater refinement. Gold is not left in the mud. It is burned, hammered, and shaped until it shines. In the same way, you will not be left untested. You will be pushed. You will be broken. You will be reshaped because you are meant to rise above the ordinary. But most people reject this truth. They want the honor of being chosen without the burden that comes with it. They want the recognition without the responsibility, the crown without the cross. But life does not work that way. To be chosen means to be set apart, and to be set apart means sacrifice. You will not always be understood. You will not always be accepted. You will not always feel at ease, because your path is not meant to look like everyone else's. It is higher, it is narrower, it is heavier. That is the price of being chosen. You must stop seeing your trials as punishment. They are not punishment, they are preparation. Every difficulty is sharpening you. Every hardship is molding you. The weight you carry is proof of your importance. Weak vessels are not given heavy loads. Only the strong are tested with great responsibility. If you are facing more than others, it is because more has been placed inside you. The truth is, most people never awaken to their calling because they cannot handle discomfort. They collapse at the first sign of struggle. They complain when life presses them. They seek comfort instead of growth. But the chosen ones are different. They endure. They walk forward even when the path cuts their feet. They continue even when they are tired. They trust even when they cannot see the outcome. This is what separates them. Not talent, not intelligence, not appearance, endurance. And yet, being chosen is not enough. Many are called, but few truly rise. To be chosen means nothing if you do not accept it. You must take ownership of this truth. You must stop running from it, stop denying it, stop comparing yourself with those who are not carrying what you carry. Your life is not meant to look like theirs. You cannot measure yourself by their standards. If you are chosen, your standards must be higher. There is greatness inside you, but it will not awaken by chance. It awakens through discipline, through struggle, through relentless faith. The chosen do not wait for life to become easy. They face it as it is and transform themselves through it. That is how they rise. That is how they fulfill their calling. But here lies the danger being chosen and ignoring it. To carry a purpose and live carelessly is the greatest tragedy. You cannot pretend you were not called. You cannot hide from it forever. You feel it inside like a fire that refuses to die. You know it is there even when you try to silence it. And the longer you resist, the more restless you will become. Because chosen ones are not allowed the luxury of ordinary lives. They will always be haunted by the weight of their calling until they embrace it. So the question is not whether you are chosen. The question is whether you will rise to it. Will you carry the weight or will you run from it? Will you accept the responsibility or waste your chance? Understand this: being chosen does not guarantee success. It only guarantees opportunity. What you do with it will define your life. You must see your struggles differently. Every challenge is shaping you. Every delay is building patience. Every hardship is carving strength. You are being prepared, and preparation is never pleasant. But when the time comes, when the purpose is revealed, you will understand why you carried so much. You will see that nothing was wasted. Every scar was shaping you into who you were meant to be. Do not envy those who walk lighter paths. Do not desire their comfort. They were not chosen for what you were chosen for. And they will never know the fulfillment that comes when you finally rise into your calling. Their ease will fade, but your purpose will remain eternal. You are chosen. That is why you cannot ignore the voice. That is why you cannot live small. That is why you cannot run away. To carry purpose is to carry fire. It will burn you if you neglect it, but it will illuminate the world if you release it. So accept it, embrace it. Let the trials refine you. Let the weight strengthen you. Let the calling shape you. Stop resisting what was designed for you. Step into it fully, because you were never meant to be ordinary. You were meant to rise. And the moment you accept this truth, everything in your life will begin to align with it. The greatest illusion you carry is the belief in tomorrow. You keep telling yourself there will always be more time. You convince yourself that you will begin when the moment is right, when you feel ready, when the conditions are perfect. But life does not honor such excuses. Tomorrow is not promised. The only moment you can act, the only moment you truly own, is now. Every delay is a theft of your own destiny. Every postponement is a quiet betrayal of yourself. Think about it clearly. How many times have you known what you should do, yet pushed it aside for another day? How many times have you felt the urgency in your heart and yet numbed it with distractions? Each time you did this, you weakened your spirit. Each time you postponed, you trained yourself to resist your own growth. And now you wonder why you feel stuck, why your life feels heavy. It is because you keep placing your transformation into the hands of a future that may never arrive. Life does not wait for you. Opportunities come, and if you hesitate, they vanish. The call arrives, and if you ignore it, it fades. You cannot command time. You cannot tell destiny to pause while you indulge in comfort. Time is merciless. It flows whether you act or not, and every moment wasted is gone forever, never to return. This is why the time to act is always now. People believe there will be a better day, a better chance, a better season. But what they do not see is that today is already the chance. This moment, as it is with all its imperfections, is the only door you have. Waiting for perfect conditions is the language of fear. Nothing will ever be perfect. The path will never be completely clear. You are not asked to see the entire road. You are only asked to take the next step. That step must happen now. The tragedy of delay is not just lost time. It is the slow killing of your own spirit. Every time you postpone, you strengthen hesitation. You make it your habit, and habits become destiny. The person who always waits becomes someone who never moves. The person who always says later wakes up one day to discover that later has turned into never. That is the silent danger of delay. It does not shout, it whispers, and by the time you realize it, it has stolen your life. Look at your days. Look at how many hours are wasted in meaningless distractions, in chasing temporary pleasures, in avoiding the real work. You feel restless because you know you are wasting what cannot be replaced. You are not restless because of lack of time. You are restless because you are not using the time you already have. Restlessness is the signal that you are betraying your own purpose. There is only one cure: action, immediate action. Do not wait for tomorrow to live differently. Do not wait for inspiration. Do not wait for motivation. Do not wait for others to push you. Begin now. Begin with what you have, where you are, as you are. The path will open only when you walk it. You cannot see the way if you are standing still. Movement creates clarity. Stillness in fear only creates confusion. And understand this, every great transformation begins in a single moment of decision. Not tomorrow, not someday, this moment. Every life that rose from mediocrity rose because someone refused to wait any longer. They acted while others were sleeping. They moved while others were hesitating. That is why they rose. It was not talent alone. It was not luck. It was not privilege. It was the refusal to delay. Do not think you are too weak, too unprepared, too unworthy to begin. These are only excuses your fear feeds you. The truth is, you will never feel completely ready. No one does. Readiness is not a condition before action. It is the result of action. You become strong by moving, not by waiting. You become wise by walking, not by standing still. You become prepared by acting, not by postponing. So you must decide, will you keep feeding the illusion of tomorrow, or will you honor the reality of now? Each breath is proof that you still have a chance. But one day the breath will stop and there will be no more chances. Do not reach that day with regret burning in your heart. Do not leave your life unfinished because you kept waiting for the perfect time. The perfect time does not exist. The only time is now. This is the truth you must carry into every decision. Small or big, the choice is the same. Act now. Speak now. Change now. Begin now. Do not postpone what your heart already knows is right, because one step taken now is worth more than 1,000 steps planned for tomorrow. You are not promised another sunrise. You are not promised another hour. Do not waste this one. Act as if this moment is all you have, because it is. And when you begin to live this way, urgency becomes natural, clarity becomes sharp, and your life becomes meaningful. The time to act is not tomorrow. It is not later. It is not someday. The time to act is always now. Listening is the beginning of transformation. Most people think transformation begins with action, but action without listening is blind. It is noise without direction. To listen is to open the door for change, because only when you hear can you truly understand what must be done. Listening is not just with the ears, it is with the heart, the mind, the soul. And this kind of listening requires silence within. It requires the courage to pause, to stop running, to face what is being said to you from the deepest place of truth. But here lies the problem. Many do not listen. They hear words, but they do not absorb them. They receive messages, but they are already busy arguing with them in their minds. They want to fit the voice into their comfort instead of letting it break their comfort. This is why their lives never change, because listening is not about confirming what you already believe. It is about allowing yourself to be pierced by what you need to hear, even if it shakes you. Listening demands humility. You must accept that you do not know everything, that your way is not always right, that there is wisdom greater than your own understanding. Pride blocks the ears. Pride convinces you that you already know, that you do not need guidance. But the humble are open, the humble are teachable, the humble are transformed. Listening is the doorway to humility, and humility is the soil where transformation grows. To listen is also to surrender. When the truth comes, it does not always come wrapped in softness. Sometimes it cuts, sometimes it disturbs, sometimes it demands that you let go of what you cling to. Many hear but turn away because they do not want to surrender. They want change without sacrifice. But transformation requires release. You cannot carry your old ways and expect to be new. Listening reveals what must be released. And if you refuse, you remain the same. Consider how many times life has spoken to you already. Through failure, through disappointment, through pain, through the quiet voice that rises in solitude. These were not random moments, they were messages. But did you listen, or did you cover your ears with excuses? Did you pause, or did you rush back into distractions? Life keeps speaking until you finally stop resisting. But if you keep ignoring, if you refuse to listen, the lessons grow heavier. Pain grows sharper until listening becomes your only option. The moment you truly listen, a shift begins. The fog clears, you see yourself honestly, sometimes painfully, but with clarity. You realize what must change, what must be abandoned, what must be embraced. This clarity is the seed of transformation. Without it, you keep repeating the same cycles, living in circles, mistaking movement for progress. Listening breaks the circle. Listening opens the straight path forward. And then comes the real test. Will you act upon what you hear? Because listening without action is still half dead. To listen is to awaken. To act upon what you heard is to transform. Both are required. You cannot separate them. The voice calls, you listen, you act. That is the chain of transformation. Break any part of it and the chain collapses. But remember, this listening is not always pleasant. It will not always tell you what you want to hear. Sometimes it will demand you leave behind relationships, habits, desires, even parts of yourself you thought you could not live without. This is why true listening is rare, because it requires courage. The courage to face truth as it is, not as you wish it to be. The courage to change even when it hurts. If you can cultivate this courage, then listening will become your greatest strength. Because the one who listens deeply is never lost. The one who listens is always guided. The one who listens grows, while the one who refuses remains stagnant. Ask yourself honestly, do you truly listen, or do you only hear? Do you open your heart to be changed, or do you block the truth with pride and fear? Your life will reveal the answer, because the quality of your listening is reflected in the quality of your growth. So choose to listen differently. Be still. Silence the endless noise of distraction. Pay attention to the voice that speaks beneath the surface. When it calls, do not argue. When it corrects, do not resist. When it demands action, do not delay. Listening is not passive. It is the most active state of the soul. It is the preparation for every step you must take. And when you learn to truly listen, you will no longer fear change. You will welcome it, because you will understand that transformation is not destruction. It is becoming. It is not about losing yourself. It is about finding your true self. And that journey begins the moment you stop talking, stop resisting, stop delaying, and listen. Listen now, because the call is here. Listen, because your transformation waits on the other side of your obedience. Listen, because listening is the first step to becoming who you were always meant to be.